Brandon Medina and Michael Jimenez are the Fantasy Gods.
We're back, baby.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the church, baby. Welcome to the church. This is the Fantasy Gods. I am Brandon Medina, and you know this, man. Look at this. Look at the smile. Look at the smile on this man. Michael Jimenez and I back in the building. It's been too long, brother.
It's been a while. The last time we did the Fantasy Gods, it was during COVID.
Yes.
And we were at each other's houses doing this online. So this is a new show and an old show all in one.
It is. It is. It's incredible. And we got our boy Joe Garcia running the ones and twos back here doing all the incredible stuff. Our man, how we doing today, Joe?
Doing good, man. Excited to go ahead and get things kicked off.
Oh, man, this is the best time of the year right now because you're never going to feel this optimistic again once the season starts. You think every player is going to be a hit. You're looking at players without injuries. I know we were talking about the show quarterbacks, and they were talking about how they never are going to feel 100% healthy again once training camp starts. You're never going to feel 100% confident once you make that draft. So we're really excited to kind of lay down the groundwork, but I think we should probably lay level about what the show is, how we're going to be kind of going through things and what to expect.
Right. This is exciting because the Acquired Taste officially becomes a network at this point because now we have multiple shows and we're now in talks to have a third and fourth show as well. Yep. So big things are coming around because football season is right around the corner. But the Fantasy Gods is a fun show. And when we did this back in the day on the radio, this was fun because we had so many people who would follow asking us for advice. Who do we start? Who do we sit? Who do we pick off the waiver wire?
Yep.
And there's a lot of intel when it comes to this. Dude, we are ballsy calling ourselves Fantasy Gods.
We are. We are.
We're not going to mess around, not going to BS around it. We are good at fantasy football.
Yes.
And the thing is that people turn to us for advice. So this is going to be a show where you can get advice from us when it comes to your fantasy league, whether it be a snake draft or an auction league. And beyond that, beat the gods because we're looking at having our own fantasy league as well.
Get ready.
Money on the line, baby. Money on the line.
Get ready. We are definitely going to be looking at adding a fantasy league and looking at possibly drafting. Hopefully sometime later this month. We'll be giving more information about that shortly. But I know this is a fun show, and it is a show for the people. This is a show for the listeners. This show gets as involved as you want it to be. Put in your questions. We'll answer those chats. We'll answer all the advice. We also love betting. This is a degenerate show. I promise you. This is definitely one. We're not betting the mortgages, but we're definitely going to be skipping some payments at sometimes. So we are absolutely going to be talking about betting advice once we get into it. I just bet on the preseason game because football's back. Who cares?
That's right. Jets, Browns, baby.
Yeah, and I guess what? Took the first loss of the season. Many more to follow, but we're definitely going to get some wins in there too. So we're going to be talking about fantasy football, betting, and of course, pop culture as always. You and I love to bounce back about current event things too.
Oh,
Hey, I want to
do.
interject real
Yeah.
quick here, man. We already got some comments coming in, so
Here we
without
go.
further ado, we have to go ahead and display the graphic for our great sponsor here.
That's right. So our title sponsor is Mad Pecker Brewing Company. And again, if you want to take part in this show, don't get me wrong, we're live on Facebook. We're live on Twitter. We're live on YouTube.
We're live on the X.
We're
Yeah.
on the X.
That's right.
Throw up the X.
We're
Throw up the
also
X's.
we're also going to be available on Spotify, available on Apple Podcasts,
Yes.
and other platforms like the iHeart app as well. So if you want to take part in this while the show is going on live, you have to subscribe to us on YouTube. It's the MG Acquired Taste Network, right? The Acquired Taste Network. Look us up and subscribe. Chris Leha already reaching out to us on the Mad Pecker Brewery line saying, draft Mahomes first and screw everything else.
That's right. Suns up, guns up, baby. That's how we do it. Absolutely. I love. And listen, what's going on over at our boy Mario Cavazos? What's up, fellas? We also have Chris getting wild, baby. He said $1,000 buy-in. Let's go.
Now let me ask you this: what's the biggest buy-in you've ever had in a fantasy league?
Listen, you got to realize your boy's a youngin', right? Nobody's doing craziness in college and stuff like that. I think the most we've done is a $200 buy-in, but that's, you're talking about a nice payout once you're playing with 12 players.
The most I ever did was $250, and it was $5 a transaction.
Wow.
So it turned out to be about $400 when it was all said and done.
Because through waiver wire ads,
yes,
trades as well.
Trades
and
so
both sides have to do there's money involved in that cash considerations as well. I love that, dude. That's awesome. And then also just know, guys, for the fantasy gods, we don't just talk about just fantasy football. You're straight up, redraft leagues. We talk keepers, we talk dynasties, we talk your draft analysis when it comes to betting and gambling, because of course we all love daily fantasy wagers and player props. So all that is taken into consideration. This is a show for you all. I love it. Also, Mario giving a big shout out to Mad Pecker's Brewery. He said Mad Pecker's messy fries is what's up. Oh my goodness.
Now, if you've never been to Mad Pecker, by the way, highly recommend. Joe and I have been there twice in the past couple of weeks,
man.
I mean, we're talking about pizza, wings, beer. But the thing about the beer, okay, you don't go there to get a Budweiser,
Miller Lite,
or a Miller Lite.
Yeah.
No, you get what's brewed
right.
in-house. We're talking about IPAs, a red ale, pale ales, brown ales, all of it there, brewed in-house,
fresh.
It is real beer. It's a man's beer.
Kiss.
It's a man's beer. It's not what you get over at QT. It's man beer that you have over there.
You don't want to get this dressed, man. You want to drink it straight, dude.
That's what I'm talking about.
And Mad Pecker Brewery is located on Tesla Road, close to Culebra. It's on Tesla and Timber Path, but it's close to Culebra. So if you're going to be going, say, where Alamo Ranch is, right, 1604 in Culebra, go inside the loop about a mile and a half. You're going to hit Culebra and Culebra, where that turns into Tesla.
Yep.
Just go up Tesla about maybe a mile. It's on your left-hand side. It's a good place, man. We've had fun out there, and we're going to have more fun out there because we plan in 2 weeks from today,
2 weeks,
to have a draft over there. So we were talking about it Sunday the 20th.
Yes.
Over at Mad Pecker Brewery. And if you want to take part, we got to figure out, because we're not stuck behind the confines of a radio station.
No.
This is a podcast, baby. We can cuss if we want to. Okay,
wild.
That also means that we can actually have a legit league where it's not for bragging rights.
No,
we can do it for money if
That's
we want.
right. Hey, put your money where your mouth is.
Can you beat the gods?
Can you beat the gods? And I know, listen, Mike and I are going to be giving you every single take of players that we like, and I guarantee you're going to snipe us anyways, and that's fine. That's part of the rules of the game. That's how you play. But let me just tell you guys, there's nobody that runs the waiver wire harder than a drunken Brandon Medina.
And no one gives a crappier trade offer
100%
than Brandon Medina.
Look me in the eyes, people. When you play with me, no, I am actively trying to screw you when I trade.
Yeah,
with
so you're
you.
gonna tell me if I should keep Dak or let him go off my fantasy.
100%.
No, he's over here trading.
I will trade you Justin Tucker for Patrick Mahomes like that, baby. I have,
and that's no lie. That's no lie, dude. I go into leagues with Brandon, and I see the notification. I just automatically X out of it.
Yeah,
I know it's just basura from the get-go.
And man, but low key, right? When you're playing fantasy football, it's not always about picking the star players. It's about consistency, man, with those numbers, man.
You got to ride the waves, baby. Ride the waves. And so let's jump a little bit into it, though, Mike. I know we have 2 more sponsors as well that we want to give a big shout out to.
So Mudslingers over at Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee, 2235 Thousand Oaks. Dude, they've been really good for the sports community here in San Antonio. They advertise with not only us, but also Locked On Spurs as well with our good friend Jeff Garcia. It's great going over there because I hang out over there. It's on 2235 Thousand Oaks. For me, the way that I go 281 north to Thousand Oaks. I hook a right, and it's about 2 miles down on your right-hand side. Okay? And they have such a great assortment of drinks out there. We have photos of them as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want something sweet, I mean, look at that.
Sweet, savory, tasty,
look at that.
You up.
Drizzled with chocolate.
Come on.
Whipped cream.
Look at that.
We're talking about coffees. We're talking about smooth, like not so much smoothies, well, hot chocolates and things like that. That is massive.
The OG OJ, man.
Jeff Garcia.
The alien, man.
Yeah, the alien, by the way, which is kiwi and pit and what's it? Red Bull is what I'm thinking about here. The thing about it is that it's supposed to get you going. Okay, you're a little sleepy. You wake up early in the morning, got to go to work, got to get some energy.
Mudslingers.
Go to Mudslingers.
That's right.
Get the tea, get the coffee,
the mini donuts.
You're trying to wake up. You're trying to wake up from the night before. You go to Mudslinger, get you some coffee, set you straight.
That's right. If you're like me and you blacked out last night, you go to Mudslingers and wake up.
Get the mini donuts. Okay. They also have oatmeal. They got
cookies,
an assortment of things like that. It's so great, man. Thank you so much to Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Highly, highly recommend. The one that I like the OG OJ. Yep. That's great. I like the hot chocolate as well. I like the tea. Okay. But what we're wondering is if they're going to name a tea after Jeff Garcia, Moneybags himself. We think it's a tea that should cost like $40.
Yeah.
Just because.
Maybe even 50.
Just because it's
named
I think it should
after. Be 50-01 because he wants to penny pinch with that one last cent.
But if they're going to serve you the Moneybags, right? The drink has to have a $$ sign or a money stack.
Or it needs to come in a goblet.
I want a nectar of the gods drink for the fantasy gods. That's what we need to create, something like that. That's just absolutely diabetic and super intense, something like that.
Now, keep in mind, Mudslingers is open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 2235 Thousand Oaks. Highly recommend. They are big into the sports media market over here. Again, not only with us, but Locked On Spurs. But, man, they do a fantastic job out there. And do not forget the mini donuts. I cannot tell you. Our good buddy James Pledger and I, we inhaled a dozen of them.
Man, next time I'm going to show the picture of the mini donuts.
Yeah, show the mini donuts for sure. And then show it. We want to give it another big shout out to our boys over at Bexar County Social Apparel. Some of the best guys, awesome dudes. Another huge supporters of not just us before we did the shows, before all of that. They have just ran kind of the San Antonio market with incredible apparel, man.
Speaking of which, we're going to show what they're doing.
Yeah, so this is the new one, the Wemby de Guadalupe. Love it, dude.
I love it, man. Go give them some love. They are awesome on social. They're super busy all the time on social media. You can go chat with them and talk with them, but they have some of the best Spurs gear, UTSA stuff, Texas stuff. Just really running the show when it comes to social apparel here in the city.
It's off the wall.
Yeah.
It's topical.
Yes.
Okay. It's something that happens one day and then boom, the next. Like the other day, we were talking about how the AT&T Center is going to become the Frost Bank Center.
Yes. Yeah.
And I said, go frost yourself, which is a line from How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, right? Matthew McConaughey. And already they were doing designs of go frost yourself or head into the freezer.
Yeah, they're
for
quick.
The new Spurs stadium.
They're quick, man. They are quick, and they definitely do an awesome job. So please go support not only Bexar County Social Apparel, Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee, and of course our title sponsor.
But that is a ballsy shirt right there.
It is,
dude. It is. It says he's out of this world, baby.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
his talents are of biblical proportion.
No, he's going ahead and heading to angelic proportions.
Oh, I like that.
He has godlike abilities.
Yes, godlike abilities. I love. So with that being said, man, let's talk a little bit of fantasy football. So we have a breakdown of how the show will go when it comes to the season. So you're going to be hearing a lot of different segments such as Thou Shalt Bench, Blessed is He Who Starts, all very much church related because you're in the church of fantasy, baby. And so you're going to be talking about all that as the season starts. But right now we have a chance to kind of lay it on the table, talk about strategies, talk about what we're looking at. And since you're wearing a New Orleans Saints shirt, you're a Saints fan, I'm a Vikings fan, 2 running backs on both of our teams, very much in question. So Dalvin Cook still does not have a team. And Alvin Kamara just got a 3-game suspension. You said it seemed a little light.
It did. I thought it was going to be 6 to 8 games. By the way, at least my running back in real life is still on the roster.
Still on the roster somewhere.
But we have Jamal Williams, though, man.
Oh, dude,
he led the league in touchdowns last year.
Yeah,
which is weird because
if you screwed people's fantasy seasons that had elsewhere.
If you had to guess and ask 100 different people who led the NFL in rushing touchdowns last year, how many would raise their hands and say that was Jamal Williams?
Yeah, no. And then he made Swift's life dramatically change a good sense of Philly because he was like, I'm doing nothing here. So I would say when it comes to running backs, let's talk a little bit about, there's a lot of going on with, Josh Jacobs holding out and a lot of other people, talking about money. Saquon finally got paid off a little bit. But when it comes to running backs, are they that replaceable, or do we need to put some more respect on their name?
It's so funny because in real life, all of these guys are replaceable.
Yeah.
You see the Saquon Barkley getting dicked around. The guy was, offended by getting a $10.1 million deal. Look at Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders was somebody who had 1,300 yards.
Yep.
It was a career year. Got $6 million. I mean, people, the disrespect that is going on when it comes to running backs is tremendous. But now, from a fantasy perspective, you and I have been playing fantasy for a long while.
Yeah.
It used to be running back, receiver, quarterback.
Yep.
That was, and then tight end, and then you figure out best of what's left the rest of the way.
Yeah.
That has all changed. I mean, I would even go off to say that right now, unless the name is Christian McCaffrey or Derrick Henry,
something of that sort,
or something of that nature, you kind of got to go wide receiver now. And in real life, the wide receivers are what? Getting those Tyreek Hill type deals of $28 million.
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb is going to be in line to make $25 million plus. Book it. And now that's going on in fantasy because it's all about now the wide receiver.
It is. And wide receivers are the notorious for being super, super deep in fantasy drafts. This year is exactly the same. It is deep, but there is a drop off when it comes to consistency and elite play at wide receiver. There's a massive drop off at tight end. If you don't get a top 3 tight end, you might as well just punt the position and figure it out. And then I think with running backs, they're always just constantly changing. You know what I mean? You have 1 year where Kamara's the number 1, McCaffrey's then the 101 the next year, and then you have Derrick Henry is now a top 10 pick, and then now he's a top 5 pick, and so it's just it fluctuates a lot more than I think any other position does. And I agree, we should put more respect on their names. We should definitely pay the guys more, pay them as leaders on the team. But overall, man, I think running back is one of those where there are guys like the Jamal Williams that kind of just come out of nowhere in fantasy, and maybe they aren't making the most money, but they are one of the most elite players of that year to be scoring and help your team get to a championship.
Yeah, Jamal Williams last year with 17 touchdowns on the ground.
Crazy.
Jamal Williams, who probably was undrafted or the end of the draft for most leagues out there. The one thing I would say is that if you're asking yourself the question, should you get a running back or not? I think part of it depends on, do you know the rules of your league?
Yes.
Because is it a full PPR? Is it a half PPR?
Yep.
Or is it a standard league? That's going to determine the type of strength or the type of need that you would need for a running back early on. Because if you're looking at a PPR league, for example, a player like Austin Eckler at running back is gold, because he's going to get you 80 to 90 receptions each year, and you get 80 to 90 free points. Same thing with Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is getting these receptions that are just dinked to him.
Yep.
But every dink is a 1 point every single time. So know the rules of your league.
Yeah, you have to.
That's one of our commandments.
It's you know massive. What? I'm going to show you all a graphic right now that y'all are talking about running backs.
Show me the graphic.
This is per ESPN. This is what they have right now in the 2023 PPR running back rankings.
Okay, rattle off who they got in the top.
Number
10.
1, Christian McCaffrey. Number 2, Austin Eckler. Number 3, Saquon Barkley. Number 4, Bijan Robinson. 5, Jonathan Taylor. 6, Derrick Henry. 7, Josh Jacobs. 8, Nick Chubb. Number 9, Tony Pollard. And at 10, Ramador Stevenson.
Okay, so let's talk about some of these players here. The first running back off the board is going to be Christian McCaffrey. And you can make the argument that he should be the number 1 player taken in the league. You can also say that maybe a Justin Jefferson, if it's a PPR league, or a Jamar Chase. But you see some of these names. McCaffrey, that's an obvious first-round pick.
Yep.
Eckler is an obvious first-round pick as well. Now he has a new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore.
Yep.
And then we're talking about Saquon. See, now we're getting to an area here where you don't know what kind of Saquon you're going to get. When Saquon's out there playing and he's healthy, he's an elite running back. But it's just when he's out
healthy,
there.
Yeah.
So that's a big question mark right there. Derrick Henry, dude, at one point, is that production going to fall off?
I don't know, dude. And you don't want to be the one holding the bomb when it does go off.
I mean, the tread on the tires has got to be thin.
Oh my God, man. I'm telling you, but I think Derrick Henry is still as safe as it gets, man. And he just does not stop. But I will say 2 names we mentioned that are in these top 10 projections for ESPN, Jonathan Taylor and Josh Jacobs. Jonathan Taylor hates where he's at, is asking for trades. They're not going to trade him. He might sit out. Josh Jacobs is currently sitting out and hoping to get paid. 2 major implications of fantasy where if you draft today or if you draft tomorrow or next week, if these answers are not already decided and not already answered for you, if these questions are not answered for you, you need to absolutely pivot or let them fall. If you can get a Jonathan Taylor or a Josh Jacobs in the 3rd because nobody wants to deal with the mess, or in the late 2nd, I think you're winning your draft already. It's a massive, huge upside only if these get resolved. We've seen players sit out for a very, very long stretch, and you do not want to be wasting an elite top pick on them unless you have at least some sort of an answer to some of these questions.
What about Tony Pollard for the Dallas Cowboys? That's kind of interesting to me, only because he's coming off of injury.
Yeah.
How, like, is his ankle still 100?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I was going to mention the fact that all those question marks that you're talking about there, from Saquon Barkley to Jonathan Taylor, you look at certain players that might get elevated that you may not have considered a first-round pick. And when I say first-round pick, I'm not saying, in a 12 or 14 team league where you would have gotten him at 13 or 14. But would you be out of your mind at number 5 or 6 taking a Nick Chubb?
Nope, not at all.
Because there's no Kareem Hunt there anymore. And Nick Chubb is somebody who's not coming off of an injury. And that might elevate him. And then you have Tony Pollard right there. Tony Pollard, who had a phenomenal year last year. But he had a high ankle sprain and a broken leg.
Yeah.
And he's coming off of that. They say that he looks good, that it healed. But still, it's just a question mark.
It usually takes a full season for you to like really feel like that injury is 100%, because he's still going to kind of be a little bit ginger with it, So to me, I think he's going to suffer a little bit in the beginning of the season. Maybe he can come on strong and finish, as they're starting to push for the playoffs. But I don't know. To me, he's kind of one of those enigmas, man.
Yeah, that's the hope for Cowboy fans.
So Tony Pollard is interesting, man, because you're looking at somebody who has elite upside in a fantasy football term, right? I don't know that we're talking about an elite running back in the league, but when it comes to fantasy football, you're getting somebody who can catch, who's shifty, who's super fast, and can go and get not only your receptions for yardage, but also break off some big runs.
Yeah, I like his style because he's aggressive.
Yeah, he's aggressive, man. I like that. The only thing is you have a new coordinator, right?
Yeah.
You have a new offense.
Mm-hmm.
And man, does Dak not look very good in training camp?
Already throwing picks. Already throwing picks.
Rough.
Trayvon Diggs already going after him.
Dude,
in practice.
I'm telling you, it's a soft ass squad over there as far as mentality. They get broken down very quick. I think Dak Prescott likes to dump it off. We saw Zeke Elliott really utilize that in fantasy football, who also doesn't have a team and who also could possibly be brought back on a short contract for cheap. So again, we don't know a lot with Tony Pollard. I would be nervous taking him. But if you're drafting in your home leagues and you have those ride or die Dallas Cowboy fans, let them take Tony Pollard.
I'm going to take him, man.
At number 2 or number 3 and let them ride his ass to a losing season. I'm down with it. I'm just telling you, I do not believe that Tony Pollard is going to be the savior of your fantasy football team. You definitely want him at the right price. I think he's definitely ranked in that top 10 towards the back half, number 8, number 9 usually. I'm fine taking him in the second round, no problem.
Oh, he won't be there in the second round.
You,
the Mad on the Mad Pecker Brewery chat line, we've got Sean reaching out saying Pollard might get even more catches under Mike.
That's true too. That is true too. We won't know until we see. I know from training camp where we've seen that they've been utilizing a bunch of different schemes, but it's also training camp. They're trying different things. They're getting a little crazy. You can't take much from that. So I think once we'll see, what the preseason looks like, what the backups look like, how that roster kind of shapes up. Because again, if Zeke does come back and you took Tony Pollard at number 7, number 6, number 8, it's not going to be a very, very exciting
Mike
season.
brought up a good point though, man. If they do bring Zeke back, he lost his speed, right? He doesn't have that open field speed. But Mike brought up a good point saying he still has the power. So if you're at the goal line and you need like maybe 1 or 2 yards, that's your boy.
I joked on this will be acquired taste. I said the other day, I said, if my life depended on a running back taking it in from a yard and a half out, and I had to choose from any running back in the NFL, I would still choose Zeke. Because Zeke from a yard and a half out, baby, is money. He finds the hole. He's not a good running back anymore from the 20 to 20, but that 1.5 yard at the goal line, dude, give the ball to Zeke. There is value in that.
I think if you're looking at Tony Pollard, here comes the first hot take of the show. The first little tidbit that you're going to be sniping me in drafts for all of my friends and people listening. If you're going to take Tony Pollard, I would say take a look at Jahmyr Gibbs as well. So Ishan also commented on the Mad Pecker Brewing chat. He said, I like Gibbs. I do too, man. This guy is some talented running back, and he's playing in an offense where he's going to get a lot of work over there in Detroit. And also, he's already said just 2 days ago in an interview that he's playing more wide receiver than he did in college. So you're looking at a very, can I say, Kamara-esque type running back over in Detroit. And when it comes to Detroit, we saw DeAndre Swift get work. That team as a whole looked a lot better last year. The offense looked great. I like Jahmyr Gibbs, and you can get him very discounted when it comes to not wasting a first-round pick up at Tony Pollard. So if you want to sit on it or you don't get Tony Pollard and you really wanted him, take a look at Jahmyr Gibbs. Right now, he's going down usually about the running back 13 taken or so. And so I think you can get him. He's in the conversation with guys like Travis Etienne, Ramondre Stevenson, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, stuff like that. So other guys who have been there. But I think his situation and his work is going to allow him to possibly be a top 10 running back at the end of this season.
But it's the value of the unknown.
Yes.
You know what you have with that team.
Since it was your first hot take of the season, man.
Oh, wow.
The next time somebody says something outrageous, and I don't agree with it, give it to me.
Oh, I like that.
Nice.
I like that.
Okay, so if we're talking about rookie running backs, right? You mentioned the name Bijan Robinson earlier.
Ooh, Bijan.
A lot of mock drafts have him going top 10.
Freaking quick. I'm talking about top 6 sometimes.
Dude, okay. I mean, I get it, okay, because he's very talented, right? He is super talented, and a lot of people were wondering, hey, man, are the Eagles going to jump up, or will the Eagles take him at 10? And instead he got taken at 8 by the Falcons, which pisses me off because my Saints are in the NFC South along with them.
Yep.
But unless they have a quarterback and Desmond Ridder is QB1 over there,
you said quarterback, and I looked in your eyes and I was like, who the hell's the quarterback again? And for a second there, I was like, what
is it Marcus Mariota? I was just watching that thing on Netflix.
Just watching quarterbacks.
Oh, man.
So all I'm saying is 8 in the box, baby. Have Desmond Ridder try to win games for you.
I'll tell you what, I'm a Texas Tech fan, so if you're trusting him not to fumble at the goal line, I don't know about that because he did against Texas Tech. But I do think Bijan Robinson is a extremely interesting pick and intriguing. I know Ishan, our boy, said Ridder is going to wear Bijan out on the Mad Pecker Brewing chat line. I am absolutely all in on Bijan Robinson. If he falls to you, I think he's safe. I think he's almost a Austin Eckler-esque player. Before, I mean, we haven't seen much, right? We got to see him in the NFL, but he has the potential to be. He's a brute, dude. He's definitely a strong guy. He's quick, catches passes well. He's a absolutely dominant player whenever he's on. And we've seen the Falcons, who are not good, we've seen them have a top 10 running back. Remember Cordarrelle Patterson?
Cordarrelle Patterson, that's right.
He had when he went nuts and he was scoring
he's
touchdowns.
Still there.
Right. Yeah, he's still there. I don't know how they're going to use him, probably as a wide receiver. I'm sure they'll have he started off as a wide receiver, so I'm sure they'll be utilizing him too. But I think Bijan Robinson could really, really be a great player in the league. Now, will he live up to his ADP, his average draft projection? We'll see. Right now, he's getting taken before Nick Chubb's and before Saquon Barkley's, before Derrick Henry's, these guys that have already won you championships in the past. Yeah. So we're definitely hyping it up. So it's up to you to decide if you believe the hype or if you don't. I, for one, do. But also you got to be comfortable to take that shot, because also on our Matt Pecker Brewing chat line, we have a lot of people asking about Cooper Kupp. And so we have our boy Mario saying Cooper Kupp was my first pick, was rolling until he went down. What is his projected this year? Second round at best. He is still a first round pick.
Still a first rounder.
It's usually going to be late though, right? You're going to get him on that 9 to 10 turn. And I think if you can go Cooper Kupp, Derrick Henry, Cooper Kupp, Nick Chubb, oh my God, I think that'd be a solid duo.
Especially if you're in a PPR league. I'm taking a look at some projections on fftoday.com. They believe that Cooper Kupp is going to have 106 receptions this year.
Yep.
I mean, that is studly right there. I mean, he's had more before, but 106 yards, projected to have 1,359 yards receiving and 8 touchdowns. They have him listed as wide receiver number 5 this season, right behind Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, and Devontae Adams.
That's exactly where I would have ranked those exact 5.
So let's talk about this a little bit, man, because there's different types of drafts that are out there.
Yeah.
There's the regular, I would say that probably about 90% of the people that are listening to this do a snake draft, right?
Yep.
12-team league, number 1 drafts number 24, and 12 drafts 13, right? So it's 12, 13, just snakes around. I'm also in an auction league.
Dude, you know what? This guy, Joe, talked me into an auction league, and I've never been so stressed out in my life, dude. It's so stressful. But go ahead, tell us about the auction.
Yeah, the auction league is a true general manager type of play.
It's intense
because you play with actual
virtual currency.
So you get like, so for example, you get like $200 of cap space or $500 of cap space, and players go to auction. You know, you might say Justin Jefferson, and they start bidding each other up like it's the A&E show Storage Wars, right? It's 20, 25, 30, 35.
Yep.
So you start bidding them up, and all of a sudden you have a wide receiver who went for $85, and it's like a fourth of your stack.
Yeah.
But you got Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
And then you got these other guys who probably don't pick anybody for like 2 hours. And all of a sudden they just start vacuuming up all these players that they can get for $8 or $9 that would have gone for 40 or 50 just 2 hours before. It is like
crazy,
playing poker.
Dude. It's so crazy. It's intense. I mean, you're going to have Justin Jefferson on your team. Congrats, right? Awesome. But then you're also going to be having like Michael Gallup as your number 2 because you spent way too much on Justin Jefferson.
Y'all talking about, wide receivers, and here we go again with ESPN.
Give it to
PPR, top 10, man. You got Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
Jamar Chase. Number 3, Cooper Kupp. 4, Tyreek Hill. 5, Devontae Adams. 6, you got Stephon Diggs. 7, my boy CeeDee Lamb. At 8, you got Amon-Ra, St. Brown. And then at 9, A.J. Brown. 10, Garrett Wilson, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about CeeDee Lamb. A lot of Cowboy fans out here. CeeDee Lamb, everyone's saying is looking out of this world right now at camp. And you know that Dak loves throwing the ball to him. You know that they have more weapons than they've had before. Gallup coming back from injury. Brandon Cooks is no slouch out there as a wide receiver 3.
Getting receptions now.
Dude, I'm a big fan of Malik Davis.
Oh, yeah,
dude, I like Malik Davis. That's going to be one of the guys that I get at the end of the draft to stash just in case Pollard goes down, because I like Malik.
I would also really watch the tight end movement in that Cowboys camp too.
Yeah, who's it going to be? And Schoonmaker went down with an injury a couple days ago.
I mean, watch that, because that Dallas Cowboy tight end is always a huge utilization for that offense and is big for fantasy football. But talking about CD, continue.
But CD, you listed some names that were above him. He was like number 7 according to ESPN.
Yeah, what is he? Number what?
Number 7.
Number 7.
Yeah.
I would take CD over Devontae Adams.
Ooh.
Oh, that's another. Hey, you know what, man? That's another hot take, dude.
Give it to him, dude.
That's another hot take.
This guy here.
I mean, CD would actually be my wide receiver 3.
Oh,
I have him just below Justin Jefferson, just below Jamar Chase. And you know what? Jamar Chase might actually be below CeeDee Lamb because Joe Burrow might not be there for week 1.
Listen, dude, he's a fantasy god for a reason. I'm not going to ever disrespect his takes, but you know what I mean? Week, Jamar Chase is the pick.
I'm doing my Brian Windhorse.
Yeah. According to sources.
If he's gonna go ahead and say like hot takes like that, let's see what he can do with Amari Cooper, man. You pick him up in your second round.
There you go. Yeah.
You don't want to have that locker room beef between the two.
No, I love CD. The question is, do you believe he has top 5 upside?
Well, what I'm going with is that okay, Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Great wide receiver.
Yep.
Who's throwing him the ball?
Last year, highest ADOT, which means, air yardage per target. Incredible ADOT. That's not Jimmy G's thing. He does not throw a long ball.
Right.
But if you're in a PPR league, We could be seeing some very close to scrimmage yards, lots of receptions to make up for that. But I think he also had a ton of touchdowns last year. Devontae Adams had like, well, I got to check what it was, but I think it was like almost 14 touchdowns, something like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that touchdown usage might come down. PPR might be going a little bit up. It might even out. It might be a little lower. So I could see CD kind of squeezing out over Devontae in a certain scoring format.
Joe Burrow carted off the field about a week ago or so.
Takes down Jamar Chase's level too.
Takes down Jamar Chase as well. Jamar Chase was quoted yesterday as saying, "We don't care if you're back for week 1. We just want you back by week 4. Just be healthy and come back."
And that calf injury that he has, dude, that hurts, bro.
That's gonna be lingering.
Hurts, man.
It's gonna linger.
So then let me ask you this though, because when it comes to quarterbacks, Joe Burrow would have been taken off the board, maybe number 3 or 4 out of all the quarterbacks out there.
Yeah, about that.
Mahomes would have been 1.
Josh Allen and
Jalen Hurts, maybe because they get touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah.
But
right?
What about those interceptions with Josh Allen, dude? How's that going to hurt your numbers?
It's the fumbles with Josh Allen. The guy, that guy, I mean, how does that guy not get criticized for that? I'll never understand that. But Joe Burrow might now go off the board quarterback 7 or 8.
Nice.
And I'm going to be sitting there in the 3rd round, 4th round going, come to Papa.
Like the sources say.
Yeah, but Brian Windhorst can't even fit in his own square, dude. You think they would want to zoom out of that brother a little bit, man? Come on, get him a bigger square or something.
Damn it, dude. Damn.
You know, that dude loads up on calories. And if you're going to load up with calories with us, again, we're going to have our draft on August 20th,
Yes.
2 weeks from today at Mad Pecker Brewery. Again, they're the title sponsor over here on Tezel and Timber Path. We're gonna have fun out there. Again, this is good beer. Okay,
Yes.
this isn't
solid. This isn't okay. This is
home brewed beer. It's brewed there at that location there. IPAs, different types of ales. We're gonna have a fun time out there. And here's the thing: if you want to take part in our league, okay, I'm thinking 100 bones. You want to go 150? I'm fine with that too. But here's the thing: we're gonna go to Mad Pecker Brewery and we're gonna do this draft. And we don't do any of this auto draft bullshit.
No, you're there. If you're there, you're drafting.
Okay,
You are bots.
You are not in our league if you are not at Mad Pecker with us.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to support us and support our sponsors by being there. And there's nothing worse than losing to somebody in a league who auto drafted. Or says here. What I want you to do is take the best running back in the 1st round, best receiver, and like they're giving you like a menu. And you're calling out their play. Hate that. Dude, there's no bigger jackass in the world than someone who skips out on a draft. It's like you don't know. You don't realize that the draft is the 20th or the 27th or whenever you have it. You don't realize that? Bullshit. You know when the draft is.
Get him, Mike.
Get a babysitter.
Get him, Mike.
Okay? Take the day off from work if you work on a Sunday.
Preach it.
You know better than that. And none of this crap about I'll do it from Zoom. Screw you. Quarantine's over. Get your asses over to Mad Pecker Brewery.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Well, this is the Church of Fantasy, and Michael Jimenez is preaching right now. So
hey, man,
careful.
Low key though, the pecan porter over there at the Mad Pecker is really good.
Solid
dude.
Stuff. That's what I'm getting them.
You just got to watch your roll with it, man, because that alcohol content's a little high.
I don't even want to think about alcohol after last night. I'm over here. Your boy's struggling over here. But
yeah, you should have told me, man. I would have given us a little pour and see what happened with them.
Telling you, goodness gracious. But I will say, Mad Pecker Brewing, August 20th. We're going to be there. It's going to be a blast. You do have to be there in person, man. Draft with us. Come hang out with us. We're not going to be giving any advice, though. Don't expect us to be helping your ass either. If you're on the clock, I'm going to say take Tony Pollard at 1, take CeeDee Lamb at 2. Go for it. Do your thing.
Ortiz reaches out to us on our Mad Pecker Brewery chat line over here on YouTube saying, damn, Mike, hammer don't hurt him.
I'm telling you. I will say, though, since we're focusing on certain players that we think are going to outperform kind of their ADP, let's talk a little bit. We have Darren Waller over here. We had a question about him. Sean asked about him. I agree. So thoughts on Darren Waller and Daniel Jones. First off, let me hear yours. I just want to hear what you think about Darren Waller in that offense. What do you think? Do you still trust him? Is he going to look like he did with the Raiders? What are you thinking Darren Waller is going to be bringing to this offense?
Well, I like Darren Waller. And you know that we actually have certain players that we fall in love with.
Yes.
Right? You love TJ Hawkinson more than anybody in the world, okay?
Now he's a Viking, baby. Are you kidding me?
But when you see that Darren Waller has an offseason in which he marries Kelsey Plum, former San Antonio Silver star Kelsey Plum.
Hey,
dude,
connections.
Oh my God, she's beautiful. She is, and she's got a cannon for an arm. If you ever saw that video of her throwing the T-shirt at the Spurs game. That being said, Daniel Jones needs a safety valve.
Mm-hmm.
He needs somebody. The Giants utilize the tight ends very well. Back in the day with Evan Ingram and players like that. Darren Waller is going to have a good season this year. And, the tight ends, you would say that number one is always going to be Travis Kelce. And then you have the George Kittles of the world. People believe that suddenly Kyle Pitts is going to be a thing. Dude, Kyle Pitts, the amount of hype that Kyle Pitts had when he first came into the league, and people are still hanging on to hope that he's going to be that guy. Again, who's his quarterback again? Desmond Ritter. Desmond Ritter. Yeah. Really? Desmond Ritter. Okay, so let's go on with that. But when it comes to tight ends, though, a Darren Waller going off the board at wide receiver 5, maybe after a Mark Andrews.
Oh, for tight end 5, yeah.
For tight end 5, off the board. I mean, wouldn't be that bad of a deal. I'd like him. So,
according to Fantasy Pros, right, who I love looking at, they do some great stuff. So, you have Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, T.J. Hawkinson, George Kittle, Kyle Pitts. Those are the guys that are kind of valued above Darren Waller, according to Fantasy Pros. And then you got Dallas Goedert, Evan Ingram, Pat Freiermuth, David Njoku, and Don Schultz. We just talked about the tight ends and the Cowboys to be looking out for. Here's what I think. Darren Waller is in a team with nobody going to be able to catch balls. There's going to be, it's Sterling Shepard and whoever else. Your cousin might be playing for the Giants for all you know. Who knows? But here's where it gets tricky. He is going to be 31. He has been injured quite a bit. He missed 14 games due to injury over the last 2 seasons. Hamstring injury last year. Almost half of the season was gone. But according to Fantasy Pros, I would be cautious. I like Darren Waller for the right price. Check this out. According to Fantasy Pros, he has the 32nd, which means the hardest strength of schedule for a tight end.
Really?
So according to Fantasy Pros, Darren Waller is going to be roughing it out this season because he has the hardest strength of schedule based off of last year's defensive metrics. Darren Waller will be definitely struggling it out. Now that could change, but I do think when it comes to targets, when it comes to having a safety valve for Daniel Jones, I like Darren Waller. And you normally, once you get to drafting a person like Darren Waller later in the rounds, you're going to be hitting and missing every draft pick around that time. So you might as well swing for somebody that you definitely could be a boomer bust player. And I think Darren Waller could be a great tight end. I'm aiming for Darren Waller in almost every league that I have. I like where you can get him. You're finding him really late in like the 8th to 10th round, depending on how they're drafting. And a lot of people tend to punt on tight end late if you don't get a top 2 guy like Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews.
Hey, one of my buddies just texted me. He was asking me, what's your take on what's going on over there with the San Francisco 49ers with Debo and Purdy?
Yeah. Oh, Debo and Purdy. Hey, that's a perfect question. So what do you think about Brock Purdy, Debo Samuel, all the pieces that they have there now? Because Christian McCaffrey had finally played 1 season with them, and we definitely saw it took away a little bit of gain from Debo Samuel and the wide receiver room over there.
Yeah. Okay. So that concerns me over there with San Francisco because I don't know exactly who's going to be solid there as a quarterback 1 over there because Brock Purdy coming back from that nasty injury he suffered during the playoffs.
And before he got injured, God, dude, that dude was just a Cinderella story.
He was, dude. That was a Disney movie in the making right there. But the depth chart over there, when it comes to the Niners, they have an excellent defense. So they're always going to be in the games.
Yep.
But Sam Darnold being brought over there,
supposedly showing out in camp.
Yeah, but do we believe in him? Did he just need to have a change of scenery to get better? Because Trey Lance reportedly is looking like hot garbage out there at camp right now. And Trey Lance was somebody that they traded the farm for to get in the top 3 of the draft. And now he's a 3rd stringer over there behind Sam Darnold and Brock Purdy.
Trey Lance, dude, what happened to you? You traded the farm for him. You gave up so many picks, gets injured, and just hasn't had a chance anywhere else. I think almost Trey Lance for a team could be a buy low candidate for in real life. Like a team should go and see what they got. Like a team like Atlanta who's starting Desmond Ritter. But something like that. But yeah, I think Brock Purdy or Sam Darnold, I truly believe will be able to keep up with the Debo Samuel. The only thing is if you got to keep up with Debo Samuel, are they able to also keep the current ADP for Christian McCaffrey? And are they able to also keep Brandon Ayuk interested? George Kittle? Can they get all these guys to be top fantasy producers? I don't believe so.
No, just McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Because their whole offense is predicated around what they do with Christian McCaffrey. On the ground, through the air, he's option 1 on every single play. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Debo Samuel. But they need to quit running that guy. He's going to get blown the heck up.
Yeah, dude. Deebo Samuel is just used as kind of this gadget guy, and he's an incredible wide receiver. He does his job well. But you have Christian McCaffrey. There's no need to be running Deebo Samuel. But I will say, another hot take, Joe. Get ready. Here we go.
Oh, man.
Hot takes galore today.
Here we go.
If you're going to take Deebo Samuel, here is 2 players you should be taking a look at instead. One, I would absolutely draft over him. One, I would just take a glance if you can. I think if you're going to draft Deebo Samuel, my player of choice this year to draft, my number 1 sleeper that people are sleeping on, is a Saint, a New Orleans Saint, because my buddy's here.
And he's wearing the shirt.
Take a look at Mr. Chris Olave. Chris Olave is dangerous. And I think he's getting drafted around that same area. As soon as you go Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Garrett Wilson, all these guys, you're going to start taking a teardrop with wide receivers a little bit. Not too crazy, but you're going to start looking at Devontae Smith, T. Higgins, Deebo Samuel, DK Metcalf. All these guys are great. Look at Chris Olave. We know statistically year 2 wide receivers after a great rookie year have an incredible year normally. He's in the sweet spot. I think he's 22 years old. He has nothing but targets coming to him because who else is going to catch the ball over there in New Orleans? If Alvin Kamara is suspended for 3 games, even better for him. So I do think Chris Olave needs to be a conversation starter. I think Chris Olave probably finishes this year as a top 10 wide receiver. And I'm putting it out there now. And then also take a look at DK Metcalf, and I'm going to get scrutinized for this one, but we'll see at the end of the year. There's a difference between fantasy players and fantasy gods. Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley, a fellow degenerate gambler, just like us, coming back. We saw how good Jacksonville's offense looked without him last year. We saw Trevor Lawrence get it figured out. Calvin Ridley could definitely be somebody who was already in the top 10 conversation when he was healthy in Atlanta. He's done it before. He can do it again. And supposedly he looks like he's getting put in fast forward in camp because he looks so fast and so much more elite than other wide receivers. There's not going to be many people challenging him. You do have a good wide receiver group there in Jacksonville, but I think Calvin Ridley is something to take a look at, especially if Deebo Samuel gets taken before you. And I think Chris Olave is somebody I would be taking very, very high. Don't jump for it. Wait for it to fall to you. But Chris Olave is going to be incredible and someone I'm targeting in every single draft I have.
Okay, lots to address there. Okay, first of all, you reminded me of Akon. Wow, that boy is so dangerous. So here's the thing. Chris Olave, his stat line last year, 72 receptions, over 1,000 yards receiving.
1,531. Incredible.
And you may think to yourself, okay, that's decent. So why all excited about that, right? 1,042 yards, 4 touchdowns. Why so excited? Well, who was his quarterback last year? Was it not Andy Dalton?
No.
Was it Ian Book?
Oh, God.
Was it Jameis Winston?
Yes.
Was it Taysom Hill?
It was all of the above.
Dude, it was all of the above.
That was where you circled D at the end, where it just says all of the
above.
above.
And Chris Olave is still getting points.
And here's the thing, 1,531, I just threw that number out. That's total air yards we just talked about. I just told you there was a wide receiver we mentioned at the beginning of the show that I said led the league in air yards per reception, and that was Devontae Adams. Who was Devontae Adams' quarterback last year?
Devontae Adams was quarterback last year.
That was Derek Carr, baby.
Oh, okay.
Derek Carr
I thought that was a trick question.
No.
I was like, that's Derek Carr, but
Yes.
I'm thinking of Jimmy G because he's over there now.
But Derek Carr is going to be just absolutely elevating this team,
Right?
Elevating that offense, elevating Chris Olave. You look at it, he was 8th in target rate per route according to Fantasy Pros. He was wide receiver 26 in points per game, and that was his rookie year. We know that second-year players usually take a great leap, and he already had a 25% target share. And when it comes to an air yard share, he had 38%. So, this is a guy that has everything available to him to be a prime candidate, to have an awesome, incredible year. The only thing is I can see him also having maybe regression in certain areas as far as maybe, I don't know how many touchdowns he had last year, but I could see maybe regression in in close to scrimmage yards, just because I feel like Derek Carr's a big play quarterback.
He likes to sling it.
Likes to sling it. So we'll see. However, also, we talked about strength of schedule. According to Fantasy Pros, again, there's a difference between players and fantasy gods, Mike. The second best strength of schedule for a wide receiver. So he has the second best of all 32. He ranks number 2, which is great. It's the best, aside from number 1. Strength of schedule for wide receivers, which means he's going to be facing really, really tough matchups here and there, but it's all going to be balanced out by playing really bad secondaries. So
NFC South, baby.
I think
NFC South.
I think Chris Olave is one of my guys for this year, and absolutely one of the guys I'm targeting in every draft.
Can I tell you the meme that hurt my feelings this week?
Go.
It said DeMar Hamlin died, came back to life, and returned to the field faster than Michael Thomas.
Oh my gosh! Now, hey, Michael Thomas is also a little sleepy pick too, man. This is a guy that was going number 1. Remember, he was going number 1 at times.
Yeah, that one year he had 1,700 yards receiving.
What a fall from grace, man! Goodness gracious.
Hey, what about some of these rookies? Because some guys are going to want to go ahead and kind of roll the dice with some of these rookies, man. And right now, the top 10 what they're predicting right now. If you want to go ahead and look at some rookies for your fantasy, number 1, Bijan Robinson.
Of course.
Number 2, Anthony Richardson. 3, Jahmyr Gibbs. 4, Bryce Young. 5, CJ Stroud. And they have like a tie between 6. They have Jackson Smith and they have Jordan Addison. Now at number 8, if you want to go ahead and put it, you have Quentin Johnson. 9, Zach Charbonnet. And at 10, they have Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah, well, a couple of them. Zach Charbonnet was hurt this past weekend, a couple of days ago. So he's they say the injury is mysterious, whatever that means. But he's missed a couple of days out there. I do like Zach Charbonnet a lot. I have said this on my show during the week that I believe that the Seattle Seahawks are going to win the NFC this year.
Oh, wow.
It's my hot take. It is a hot take, but I think that they have everything in place to make it because Jackson Smith and Jigba being their wide receiver 3.
So good.
To DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett.
Yep.
That offense is just brutally good.
And their defense is not bad either.
Not bad anymore. Yeah. I mean, they've got 2 lockdown cornerbacks. One of them came from UTSA, for crying out loud. So I like the Seattle Seahawks. I like what they've got.
Tell you what, our first show out the gate, there's a lot of hot takes coming out of here all over the place. And I think one I want to focus on, Bijan Robinson, absolutely in discussion, probably going to be the best rookie this year, of course. Anthony Richardson was surprised to see number 2, just because I think he's a great late addition. You're not going to be fighting anybody for Anthony Richardson. If you're in a keeper league, definitely somebody to look at for a dynasty and keeper league. But one player that I love, and I already gave some love to the Saints. I got to give some love to my Vikings. Jordan Addison, a.k.a. 140 miles an hour to save his dog. We'll see. But Jordan Addison is somebody I would love to get on my team and love to target because he is the clear number 2 wide receiver over in Minnesota. And the last number 2 wide receiver that was over there in Minnesota was a guy that definitely was an incredible fantasy football player, and that was Adam Thielen. Mm-hmm. And just to give you a snapshot, there is 20% target share there that is missing. And if Jordan Addison can get 20% target share his rookie year,
he'll get a lot.
He's going to be damn good. And not just that, when it comes to college, he ranked 22nd or higher in yards per route run and received an incredible grade throughout his collegiate seasons for receiving. But if that doesn't help you establish anything more for that, the Vikings, 2nd in red zone passing rates. So they definitely like to pass in the red zone. You're going to see touchdowns there. You're going to see yardage. Justin Jefferson is obviously the most elite wide receiver in the league. He's going to be getting looks in coverage. I could see them opening up some areas where Jordan Addison gets out there, gets his own target share, and has huge games the same way Adam Thielen did because the focus is so high on Justin Jefferson and as well as TJ Hawkinson.
I was going to say real quick out of that list right there, one of the things that I wanted to bring up real quick was Bryce Young, dude. You look and see the story that came out like a day ago. He's already frustrated in drills and practice. Mm-hmm. Does that bode well for a quarterback to be frustrated this early on?
Well, the problem with Bryce Young is that no one knew that he was having a problem because no one could see him from behind the line.
He's so little, dude.
Yeah, dude.
5'10" as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Sorry, man. That ain't going to fly.
Man, how tall was Testaverde, dude?
But they're few and far between. Is what I'm saying. Now, one other question about the Vikings real fast. It's a former Viking because in a couple of weeks, we're going to have this draft over at Mad Pecker Brewery.
Yep.
And let's go ahead and say that Dalvin Cook is not on a team yet.
It's my favorite one.
This is a guy that we have seen year in, year out get 12 to 1,500 yards rushing.
Yep.
He is legitimately still a top 10 running back in the league. Do you take a flyer on a Dalvin Cook who plays for /FA as in free agent? Or do you just like wait till he goes with a team and hope that he falls to a point where you get him in the 9th or 10th round, or do you still take him in the 3rd round?
I've been doing a lot of mock drafts, and he's falling anywhere from the 3rd to like the 6th. It depends. Not the 6th, 3rd to 5th normally, because a lot of people are nervous about him, but he does fly off pretty quickly. It depends really the landing spot, right? If he goes to, let's say, again, I don't think there's any reports that he's going there, but let's say he landed at like a Kansas City or a Buffalo.
Right.
They're not teams that are going to be running the ball that much to help you become a top 5 running back again. You know what I mean? Now you might get some from passing, from PPR, stuff like that. But a lot of the times they're going to be using you at the goal line. They want to get touchdowns. They'll be Isaiah Pacheco's there in Kansas City. If you're using him in Miami, that's an interesting one to look at. I like his offense there. I think Miami would be a great fit. I saw New England has been bringing them in as well. I think that'd be an interesting one to help out that offense.
He already visited the Jets.
He visited the Jets, which I think is the most prominent one that I've seen, which would be really, really fun to see. It's just you also have Breece Hall there. Is he become a running back by committee? I'm not too excited to take Dalvin Cook at any ADP right now. Only
He's
because,
dead to me, as you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still hurt. You know what I mean? My heart's still. I'm still trying to recover a little bit. I drank probably too hard last night because I knew I was doing the show and talking about Dalvin Cook. But Dalvin Cook has definitely kept me up at night crying and thinking about what could have been if he was still a Viking. But now that he's not, delete my number, lose my contact, you're dead to me. So I have no shares of Dalvin Cook in any fantasy league that I'm looking to do. I have no opportunities where I can see taking him when it makes sense, only because I don't know where he's landing.
Think about the value you could get in the 6th round right now.
He could be a top 5 running back. You're getting him and the 4th, 5th round.
You could get a Dalvin Cook because he falls because we don't know where he's going to be, and it may take him a while to get acclimated to the offense.
Right.
Another one, Alvin Kamara, suspended for the first 3 games.
That's when I like.
First 3 games out. Okay, and then you have Joe Burrow, who might miss the first 3 or 4 games because of a calf injury. The value that you can get, this is where you draft them, 6th, 7th, 8th round, and just hope you go 2-2 the first 4 games, because all of a sudden your team just looks super solid if you got those guys. But that is the danger of doing certain things and taking these flyers on certain players out there. But big thanks again to our sponsors. We talked about Mad Pecker Brewery. Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee, 2235 Thousand Oaks. They're open 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You need your caffeine fix, go over there because it's beyond coffee. We're talking about the hot teas. We're talking about the macchiatos, the chocolate milks, the OG OJ, which is basically an Orange Julius being redone. They try to reverse engineer an Orange Julius from back in the day. Again, 2235 Thousand Oaks. Try the mini donuts. I cannot tell you the salted caramel ones.
Yay,
Chef's
now,
kiss.
man.
Chef's
that sounds
kiss.
good, dude.
Bear County Social Apparel. Visit them on Instagram. Follow them on Twitter as well. This is clothing that you're going to want to wear across town where people are going to be like, where did you get that shirt?
Yep.
Where did you get these shorts?
Brandon was wearing the shorts.
Oh, the
man.
shorts. Something about those shorts, man.
Yeah, because this isn't like regular Spurs t-shirt. This is like cultural Spurs t-shirts. The one that we saw earlier today of the R. Wemby of Guadalupe.
It's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
You're not going to find that anywhere else but San Antonio and at Bear County.
It's made for the gente, man.
Yes,
Raza.
it is.
That's exactly it. And you know what? It comes really fast in the mail. I've ordered multiple shirts from them before. They do a fantastic job. And again, it's just one of those things where you walk around and someone just does a second take, a double take at you going, what are you wearing? Where did you get that? Yep. I need that in XXL.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So man,
I love it, man. They're great people. They're also super, super friendly, easy to talk to, easy to get along to, and easy to contact when it comes to their social media, getting in touch with them, trying to figure out something about an interesting topic. And you can also always pitch ideas. They're always open to ideas
they are.
for shirts and different clothing. So I love it. And I think they're not only the best apparel area that we can definitely providing the city, but also they're even better because they're sponsors of the Fantasy Gods as well.
And they'll do pop-ups from time to time. I know they're
best.
at Wonderland Mall from time to time, and
Yeah.
they'll go to various areas where you can go physically look at the shirt, but you can just go. I mean, come on, man. We live in 2023. We buy things off of Amazon all day long. You can see what the shirt looks like, and you can just buy it off the site. But I would follow them on Instagram, follow them on Twitter as well.
Yes.
One last topic before we go, because again, this show is typically going to go from 11 to 12, leading up into the noon games. Again, we're going to have a fantasy league in 2 weeks from today,
20th.
Mad Packer Brewery. That being said, hot take on this one. Do you have a hot take on this one?
Go for it.
Because the quarterback that confuses me the most right now as to whether or not I would want to take him in the second or third or fourth round.
Oh, wow.
Justin Fields.
Oh my God.
Justin Fields.
Number 6 quarterback last year, I believe, in PPR scoring when it comes to, like, I think it's the regular 4-point quarterback standard scoring. So number 6, top 10 quarterback.
Now, let me ask you, who would you rather have?
Oh, okay. I love these.
Okay, because we know that the stud quarterbacks
Yes.
in real life and in fantasy are Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. You know, you have
Josh Allen,
right? And then you can say maybe even Lamar Jackson for what he does with his
Yeah,
legs.
yeah.
But let's say that you have to choose between Justin Fields and a Justin Herbert.
I knew you were going there because those two Justins are really interesting. So Justin Fields, Justin Herbert. God, dude. Here's my thing. My mind wants to say Justin Herbert only because the talent is there, and I feel like the dude is going to have an incredible season.
Your mind is telling you no.
But my body is telling me Justin Fields and not Justin Herbert because of the
hot take.
Just because of the legs, man. He can move. The only thing is he's passing to people that work at Portillo's there in Chicago. He's passing to guys trying to work out for the Cubs in Chicago. I mean, who knows? And so my thing is, you had Darnell Mooney, who was a great player. And then you made him look like trash. And then you got Chase Claypool. You made him look dumb.
Oh, that's right.
Remember that? So, I mean, and then, you know, David Montgomery's not there anymore. There's a lot to unpack there. But I do think the world is on Justin Fields' shoulders. The only thing is, can he do it by himself? I don't know. I think when it comes to, if I saw those two and I'm absolutely going to draft one of them in a draft, I'm probably going Justin Herbert only because I know who he has on his roster. I know what he can do with his arm and the talent. Justin Fields is an incredible pick in like a keeper or dynasty league to see how he can grow. In a redraft, your one-off drafts like normal, I would definitely probably go Justin Herbert. But God, dude, he's right there. You know what I mean? He's that girl in math class that makes you think a little bit, even though you're passing notes with the girl in the back. You know what I mean? He's there. He's nice to look at. I don't want to date him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're sitting behind her and her hair smells good. You know.
Yeah,
she's looking cute.
Yeah, Justin Fields is either the smartest pick you'll ever make or the dumbest pick you'll ever make.
Now, Ishan said, you know,
DJ
Moore. DJ Moore is there. DJ Moore has long time been a possible wide receiver 1 that never really finishes as a wide receiver 1. Every year since I've been playing fantasy, since I've known Mike, actually, since we did the Fantasy Gods back in COVID and going through the years, DJ Moore has always been somebody that ends up on my rosters for whatever reason. And I always want to just trade the dude for peanuts. I'm like, that's the one time you'll actually get a fair trade for me. If I'm looking to get DJ Moore off the books, I'll take whoever.
That's funny whenever you have this one. Like, there's certain players. I've been playing fantasy football for 23 years now. I think I started in 2000. And there was a time by which I had Curtis Martin on my roster for like 9 seasons in a row. Like, I couldn't get rid of him.
Me, dude. I have DJ Moore every year. I'm like, how the hell did you end up here?
Why is he always here?
Like, how did we get here?
Yeah, I was going to hit you all with some little tidbit right here of information.
Go for it.
Worst quarterbacks under pressure, man. It's going to surprise you, man. Justin Fields, Derek Carr, Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford, and of course your usual suspects, Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz. Yeah,
Dude.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah,
Kenny Pickett.
Zach Wilson. God, what a legend.
Man.
Anyways,
dude, having a quarterback whose name is Pickett.
Yeah, come on. Hey, yeah, you don't want that guy. You don't want that guy. But I do think DJ Moore, Justin Fields could be really, really special and something that could be fun to watch. Or it could be a car crash, and we have no idea.
Or
you were saying Derek Carr was going to change the dynamic over there in New Orleans, but under pressure, he's not very good.
He's the only good quarterback in the division. I mean, only decent quarterback. Well, you got Bryce Young, who can't see over the line. You've got Baker Mayfield, who is, I mean, hilarious videos coming out of Tampa right now.
I think he threw 8 picks or something like that.
Dude, and the ones that he didn't throw were about 3 feet over the receiver's head every single time.
Probably been watching a lot of Dak Prescott.
And then you've got Desmond Ridder. You got Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, he's the best quarterback of the day.
If Derek Carr is healthy and the Saints don't win the division, I'm going to be so frustrated. I'll be drinking as much as Brandon drank last night.
God, man. I want Justin Fields on my team. I just don't think I have the balls to do it.
And you know what's great about it? You get Justin Fields on your team. You could ball out for 14 weeks. You make the playoffs, and all of a sudden it's -5 degrees in Chicago.
Who knows?
They're hosting a home
if they're
game.
coming at Justin and they're bringing the house on the blitz, dude, I don't know, man.
Where does he rank? You said on pressure. Is he number one, the worst?
No, man, he's not one of the worst, but he's up there with one of the I guess the list is showing your worst quarterbacks.
I mean, DJ Moore. Pressure. Yeah, DJ Moore will definitely help. I think DJ Moore will help the tragedy over there for offense for the Bears. But man, dude, he's incredible. But I mean, you look at the running backs. You have Khalil Herbert, Deontay Foreman. I mean, I'm just like, he can't run everything, but I guess he can. I mean,
I like Khalil Herbert, by the way.
It's very much Lamar Jackson-esque over there.
Yes.
Where you just have no targets. He's doing his thing. Now you got DJ Moore. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I want him. I don't think I have the balls. If you take Justin Herbert and make it easy for me, then I'll take Justin Fields. But if given the opportunity to take both, I'd probably go Herbert.
Is anybody picking Wentz, dude, on your quarterback, man? For fantasy
it's just
league?
bad juju, dude.
Exactly,
it's just bad karma.
If you pick Wentz, we're kicking you out of the league immediately.
Wentz or Baker Mayfield?
Now let me ask you this though, and this will be a good conversation for next week because we're out of time. But let's think about this for next week. The big question out of that division is Justin Fields, right? With the Bears.
Yep.
I would argue that the other big question mark in that division is Jordan Love. Now that Aaron Rodgers is gone.
Yeah.
This is a Green Bay franchise that for the last, it seems to be 40 years, has had solid quarterback play.
I can't wait to beat the shit out of them this year.
Dude, what if Jordan
let them run over them?
What if Jordan Love is the truth though?
Dude, he might I mean, yeah, what if
pick him, Mike? Go ahead and pick him.
What if aliens land today? You know what I mean? There's a lot of what ifs I live by. I'm not gonna live by Jordan Love.
My Mike ain't gonna pick him.
No, I live by the fact that
pick him in the listener league.
I'm 46 years old, and I can't remember the last time the Packers had a bad quarterback.
Oh my god, that's true. That is true. But I do think if he's not good, Christian Watson's not good. Aaron Jones is going to be I mean, you have a lot of what ifs and riding on Jordan Love's back, so we'll see. But hey, we had a fun time, man. I appreciate it again. Michael Jimenez, Joe Garcia, I'm Brandon Medina. Make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube page, man. It really, really helps us. Please subscribe. Go share with everybody you know. The Fantasy Gods are back after a small hiatus. We are happy to bring it back to you guys. Again, shout out to all of our incredible sponsors from Mudslingers, Bear County Social Apparel, and our title sponsor, the one and only Mad Pecker Brewing Company. We'll be there August 20th to do a draft with you all. You do have to be in person. How can we kind of set that up? I guess just DM maybe me or you.
Yeah, DM either of us. Yes.
Yeah, so you can follow Mike on Twitter. Give us your Twitter.
MJ Acquired Taste.
MJ Acquired Taste. You can follow me at Big Poppy Brandon M. Hit us up on Twitter. Also, make sure to follow Joe Garcia. He does an awesome podcast with 2 Shots as well. So make sure you check that out. A big love and big shout out to everybody who made this possible to bring us over here and bring us back over. Thank you for supporting Michael Jimenez, man. He's worked so hard. Does a great job. I'm so super excited and thankful to be back in the saddle with my boy over here. And we're excited for another football season. So with that being said, next week we'll talk more fantasy, more betting. We'll talk about Super Bowl previews. Who are you putting the house on? You had mentioned you really like a few teams. So I know you're a futures guy.
I am a futures guy.
You like betting futures. So we'll talk about Super Bowls and all that good stuff. But thank you. This has been the Fantasy Gods. We'll see you next week, Sundays at 11. Peace.
See you.